So I'm sitting here and I have to be honest with y'all. These past few months, actually these past few years have been so heavy on my soul. And I want you to know that the spiritual warfare that has not only been waged against me, but has been waged against many of God's chosen has heightened. It has heightened more than ever. And just getting by in that moment where we start to worry about how am I going to pay for this, or how am I going to do this, or where am I going to go, or where am I going to live, or how am I going to pay for this car, or my child needs this. How am I going to be able to provide the means that is necessary to not only provide for myself, but to provide for my children? And I want you to know that God is a God that tells us to not worry. Matthew chapter 6 verse 25 tells us to do not worry about our life. Do not worry about what we will eat and what we will drink. See, understand that God, He replenishes us. God is our provider. God is our employer. And, I can bring y'all into a little peek into my world where I got to the space where I was diligently seeking employment. And I would put in my resume. I would submit my resume. I would go on interviews. I was receiving offer letters, and then something happened where I was not able to start that job, or I would start training for a job, and then something happened where I wasn't able to move forward with that company. But these things, they aren't designed to break your faith, because God has a way of showing up. And along my journey, even when my back was completely up against the wall, God showed up in my life, and the things that I needed were provided. I had a bout of homelessness, and in my homelessness, God had a way of providing. And for me, I'm the type of person that I believe that I have potential to succeed within multiple different areas of work. A person that just don't want to give up, that I will try to do this and I will try to do that. But the closer I came to God, the more I learned to understand myself and to understand my worth, and to understand that if something is not in alignment with me, I don't have to do that. And God will encourage us to remain still, to trust that He will open up those doors for us that we need to open in the right time that is necessary for that door to open. See, God is a God of miracles. God will open up heaven and bestow upon you miracles that you never thought that you would be worthy of. See, I want you to know that God said that He will provide for the animals of the earth. Of course, God will bestow those same gifts upon us. And even though I'm still at a space currently where I'm going through my own personal wilderness, where I'm still treading upon the journey, where although I step out and, I record content that motivates you along your journey and it encourages you, these words often encourage me. They support me on my journey, because I have to also remember that even though it may seem dark and things they may not come in the time that we often want them to come, but God reminds us to remain patient, because He comes through. See, God is God is a God of grace. God is a God of wisdom. God is a God of understanding, which means that God understands what we need. God understands us. God understands our heart. And it seems that, when the burdens come upon us and the bills, they continue to pile up, and the things that we need, they continue to pile up, and we don't always have the answer to how we're gonna not only provide for ourselves, but how we're gonna provide for those who lean on us for support. But I want you to know that if you continue to trust and you continue to hold your faith, that somehow things, they have a way of magically working out for us. Okay? And regardless of what season in your journey or where you're at in your particular wilderness, because everyone goes through a wilderness season. It really doesn't matter what walk of life you may come from. God is there with us in the storm, okay? God is there with us when the storm is over. God is always there. And sometimes we are encouraged to step into a space of solitude. We are encouraged to turn down the noise that's around us. We are encouraged to shut out those external things that may step in and block us from getting closer to God in spirit, to learning what it is that God needs from us. Because sometimes when these jobs don't come through, that is God's way of telling us, be still, because there is something else that I am calling for you to do. There is another path that I need for you to travel upon. And in order for you to succeed and to know the steps that I am ordering for you, it is going to be a space when you are going to have to silence the noise around you and to get into a space where I can communicate to your spirit, to the space where I can be able to heal you. See, oftentimes, many of us are suffering, and we are suffering in silence. We don't have anyone that we can reach out to for that help or for that support. We are living in a space of darkness, and that darkness, it hinders us from seeing the light that God shines upon us. It's that moment when you are crying and you are crying out for help, and you feel that God does not hear you, but God hears you. God knows your heart. God is catching, and He is wiping those tears before they even fall from your eyes. And we are constantly looking for a way to fix our situation. Sometimes God says, I need you to stop and trust me, and trust that I will intercede and I will repair that situation, that I will help you heal, that I will heal you. Oftentimes overnight. See, God is a God that has the ability to change your life overnight, but He requires us to have that trust, to be able to not only trust Him, but to trust and know that this situation, it is just as a season. It changes, and oftentimes God needs to step in and change us, and change us from the inside, so that we can show up in the likeness, that we can show up in the space that He wants us to show up in. See, I want to remind you to do not worry, because worrying, what it does is it opens up the door for the devil to get in and to confuse your mind. I want you to draw closer to God and to call upon God and to trust and know that even if you don't receive an answer in the time that at the same time that you call out for God, to know that He is there listening, that God is listening to us, and that He is holding our hand along this journey. So I stop by with that quick word of encouragement, and I do pray that you have a blessed, amazing rest of your day, and to know that God is perfect and that He is there with us in the storm, teaching us that our imperfections is what truly perfect us. And this is what makes God a perfect healer, a perfect intercessor, just a perfect God in every way, shape, and form. And on that note, I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and I'm going to catch y'all in the next one.